Are you having problems in the bedroom? Are you having problems with your sex life? Well, I know just who to talk to, and that's Lori. CoachingByLori.com is where you could set up voice, video, or text sessions to talk about sex, to talk about intimacy, kinks, fetishes, taboos, fantasies, or your sexuality. You could talk about coming out and what to expect when you come out. Lori is a sex therapist and talks about your sexual health. Lori's offering all new clients 20% off their first session with the coupon code WELCOME. That's Coaching by Lori, LORIE.com. Coupon code WELCOME, WELCOME, for 20% off your first session. Ladies and gentlemen, Suds Sports Local Media is an official affiliate of the WWE Shop. Whether you want merchandise from the original Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, or the Hall of Famers, the New World Order, or from WrestleMania itself, scan the QR code on the screen or go to suds-media.com/wrestling merch, and it gives us a commission to help our show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Dockside at the Bay. We are back after a month hiatus that was due to me finishing school and just not having enough time. But either way, I'm Vinny. This is my co-host Kim, back from her traveling hiatus from this past Monday. But Kim, how was your trip? How are you?
Oh, doing pretty well. No, I got to go to hang out in upstate New York with my family and celebrate. My brother and his wife are expecting a baby at the end of the month, and I got to go and celebrate the baby shower with them. So that was very exciting. And
Awesome.
yeah,
Happy to hear
looking
that.
forward to having a nephew. To spend the summer with and hang out with and get to know and all of that. So,
Awesome.
but
That's always fun, and
yeah,
it's always good to connect with families. Oh, sometimes, um,
yep.
but then it's nice to get back home and have your
This
freedom.
is true. This is true. Yeah, and I've been treated to some nice weather here in Chicago right now. So yeah, looking forward to enjoying some summer here as well. Because
Very nice. Very nice. Well,
limited window
today's
when it's sunny out. So
yeah. Well, today is June 10th, 2025. This will be released on the 12th, and we're going to be talking about season 5, episode 9. Kind of picking up where we left off
mhm.
last time. It's been a while, but the good thing about the Bay is that they do have the previously seen on, so you can kind of get caught up and get right back into it.
Yep, gives you
Um,
a bit of a refresher because they jam a lot into
yes,
those episodes, and you got to keep track of what's going on. So I like that they kind of just previously on and just kind of fill in the
exactly,
gaps for us.
exactly. We do have a really great episode to go over for today. Um,
Oh yeah.
and but before we get into that, I do want to let everybody know the Sudsy Awards voting is open. You go to suds-media.com/Sudsy voting, and uh, go ahead and vote for your favorites in the categories of soap operas and wrestling. The actual Sudsy Awards ceremony will take place on Friday night, August 1st, 8 p.m. Eastern, live. Not all the presenters will be live, but the actual show will be live. It'll be a Suds Media Premium live event. And it's going to be fun. Besides Kim and Angela and I being presenters, John Anthony from Chairshot Sports is inked in to be a presenter. Mike from the Run In podcast will be presenting as well as Jesse B from the Lowdown with Princess Skywalker. We've also got Matt and Kat from 10th Floor Podcasts who will be presenting awards this year. Julie Dove, the former Connie from Days of Our Lives, will be a presenter this year. So big name there. And we're waiting on some others as we get closer and find out their schedule. Um, but it's going to be a fun night. There are 21 categories for you to vote for, representing all soap operas. We did not include the Bay this year because we figured we don't watch the current episodes of the Bay, and because we react to the previously aired episode, so to speak. So we didn't feel that it was right including um, the Bay
Mhm.
um, in the running. But Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, Days of Our Lives, General Hospital, and Beyond the Gates are all represented in the um, in the categories for the soaps, as well as WWE, AEW, TNA, NXT, all represented in the wrestling category. So it's going to be a great night, and we have some fantastic nominees there. Also, want to remind everybody that this episode, going forward, Dockside of the Bay will drop on the same RSS feed as everything else from Suds and Circle Media. Because of the limitations of Podpage, which fuels our website, suds-media.com, you're only able to utilize one social media account per podcast. So you can't I can't have everything separate RSS feeds all go to one like social media page, one Twitter account, one whatever. So with that said, we've gone ahead and consolidated. There's the word I was thinking of, and into all one RSS feed. So Dockside at the Bay, Gate Crashers, Suds News, the Sports Entertainment Center, special events, the Chair Shot Sports, PLE, reviews, all on the same RSS feed. But if you want early and ad-free access, especially to our Dockside at the Bay, go over and sign up for our Patreon. Patreon.com/Suds and Squared Circle. $5 a month gets you all the access to the archives, as well as new shows of all of our pre-recorded episodes, whether it's Dockside at the Bay, Angela Answers Fan Mail, which will be coming back next week, I believe, as well as anything else early and ad-free. And you get the archives. If you want to help support the network and grow the network, first of all, you can go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube page, which you're probably watching this on right now. Subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way, anytime something comes up, whether it's wrestling or soap opera related, you will be notified. And that's youtube.com/@suds-media. You can also support the show by going to buymeacoffee.com/sudsmedia. Whatever you go ahead and donate, it goes right to the show. It helps us out. It helps us support the show and help to grow the network. All right. With that said, let's get into it. What an episode, as always. The Bay never ceases to amaze me.
I mean, look at like the scenery where they got to film this. I mean, obviously we got to go down to, Turks and Caicos and enjoy that. But like even like the opening credits when they were just showing like the beaches and everything like that and where, they got to be for this. It's really cool, that they were able to kind of do as many locations and go to as many places and destinations with this show. Because like,
Yes,
current soaps, obviously it's like they don't have the budget for that anymore. But back in the day, they used to be able to. So it's cool seeing that the Bay was able to kind of capture that again and just kind of have these like exotic sort of, spots where the actors get to go and the show gets to be filmed and these storylines get to play out because it's old
it
school
is.
soap back when they were like respected and had money and could do stuff.
No, you're right. It's absolutely fantastic the way they're able to go to the different locations because we saw them, in Europe last season.
Hmm.
We saw them now in Turks and Caicos.
Right.
We see them elsewhere going forward. Um, just a spoiler alert. They do
Yeah.
go elsewhere. Uh, I think Puerto Rico in season 8. I think that's what it is. But
Yeah, I believe so.
but either way, the budget is there. Obviously, with being a web soap, you kind of
Hmm.
get a different kind of a budget, especially the fact that Christos and Gregory Martin seem to be the driving forces behind the production company. They're able to
Right.
kind of set the budget,
Exactly.
not be handcuffed to a network.
Exactly. Yeah, but yeah, beautiful, location and a lot of drama, interesting drama though,
Yes,
because it definitely delved into the supernatural with this episode,
a little bit.
and which, just kind of the supernatural sort of, it's a little like off the beaten path, it's a little like, with all like the kind of superstitious sort of ritualistic sort of, everything involving this pendant. It's just, it was it kind of interesting rewatching this because I'd kind of forgotten some of those details, but just
I
like
would.
all everything that's involved in Pete trying to like break this curse and how like
Right.
they hinted at the curse from the beginning, but it's twined in with all of these like different elements now, and it's just it's pretty neat. It's different.
And I wouldn't necessarily say it's supernatural more than they're using different cultures and the different cultural
Yeah.
aspects.
I don't know, the one scene where the chapel door kind of
Well,
bursts
yeah,
open, that was like, "Ooh, you got a
yeah.
ghostly presence
No,
here.
you're
You got
you're
something
right.
going on."
No, you're
But yeah,
absolutely
no,
right.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
And
saying
it's
too, though.
they're they're
Th
they're paying attention to different cultural because even
Yes.
I understand with I want to call her Bobby with Sophia being somebody who could see the future and kind of pick up
Mhm.
on premonitions and stuff. And then they went to the Oracle woman who could sense the
Right.
curse from the
Right.
pendant.
Yeah,
Um,
as soon as in that previous episode when Sarah and Sophia they're sitting with the oracle I'm blanking on the woman's name,
yeah,
but when she like saw the pendant and like even felt it, just immediately like that visceral reaction that she had. Like it shows that dark energy, and then we see Pete holding it at the very beginning, and just even the woman for after he kind of, arranges to travel over towards that other where is it? Northern Caicos, I believe, is
yeah,
where
North
he said.
Caicos.
Yeah, and I gotta love how he's just like, oh yeah, I just need to get to this place to get to Northern Caicos. And the guy's like, oh, we got a boat for you. Everything's
Yeah.
cool. We can arrange
Well, when
this.
you've got money like the Garretts, I mean, it
Oh
tends
yeah,
to,
yeah.
yeah,
No, just we can arrange that. No problem.
exactly. Um,
Ooh, Vinny, I might actually have to jump off just briefly. I'm expecting an important delivery, and it's going to show up shortly. So if I have to drop off just temporarily, that's the reason why. I'm so sorry.
no, that's right. I mean, I could stop. We could do it tomorrow night if you're good. Because
No, no I, he's. Let me just bounce off real fast. I can come back.
all right, folks, we're back. Thank you for bearing with the quick glitch. I'll see if I can edit that out and post. If not, we do a lot of things live to take here. But
Technical difficulties,
yes,
get to all of us.
exactly. All right. So where were we? We were talking about the idea that Peter's got everything at his disposal. He's able to get that boat to North Caicos from right basically through his hotel that he stayed at. But what I really liked was when I kind of laughed because he gets to the boat. The guy's really nice. He's going to take him there. He says it's 20 minutes away, and then we see him sitting there. He's like, well, how much longer? And the
Yeah,
guy's like,
can we step
10
on
minutes.
it? Can we
And
get there
could
a
you
little
step on it?
faster? That was kind of funny. But I get it. It's like, you find out you have to kind of take care of this crazy, kind of, ritual thing. You got this a
Yeah.
lot of pressure on your shoulders at this point. I'd want to get it done and over with, I suppose. But yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
I noted that too. That was kind of funny. But yeah,
Um,
once he arrives on, that island, it's like things get really interesting. I mean, you get introduced to like people who kind of know more about Sarah's situation on that island, which
yeah.
is still kind of shrouded in mystery. We still don't really know the full scope of what went down there, but we know that she was clearly pretty beloved by
Yeah.
these people on this island.
The
Just
fact that they named her Paradise.
right, right. And then when the one gentleman, when he kind of gets introduced after the woman, brings him out and just kind
Right.
of says like, this is the guy you need to speak with. Pete's trying to kind of figure out the whole situation and, shows off the pendant, and he can't this gentleman can't even hold it because he says it's too sacred, and the only people that are allowed to touch it are him and his brother. So
Right.
it just shows like it's shrouded in just this like dark magic and this curse and everything. But clearly, despite all that ugly kind of crazy sort of dark history that's playing out with the pendant, I mean, the owner of it, everyone's like, as soon as they showed like Pete shows that picture of Sarah, and even though it's like clearly like 25 years, the man still remembers her. He's like, oh
Yeah.
yes, that is our princess, and It's like, wow,
Which
Sarah,
makes
you
me wonder, if you're being treated like royalty, why the hell would you want to leave?
right? Come
But
on, like,
but it also kind of makes you question what happened there, especially when she gave birth to both, Pete and Adam. The fact they were
hmm
separated, like,
yeah,
what happened?
yeah. For all this to happen to their beloved princess, I'm a little, their
Right.
princess, their paradise, just and it definitely just opens up like a lot of just like this is like kind of weird, kind of freaky stuff, but I want to see how it's all going to shake out, and I want to see how
Yep.
it's all going to twine together. Like it definitely opens up a whole new, mystery sort of thing. And I love
Yeah.
too that it's kind of like, Pete gets set on like this excellent adventure. It's like, okay, so you need to return this pendant to a church chalice, but you have to wait until the singing, what was it, the banana quit?
But
Some sort of
yeah,
bird
yeah.
until you hear that at dawn, and then you got to go out to a church, and then it's like all these like little steps. It's like Indiana Jones or something like that.
Yeah, like, no, I thought that was kind of strange because, and I get it. Again, they're going into the cultural differences of this of North
hmm
Caicos and this. I
Definitely.
I want to say indigenous group. I don't necessarily know whether whatever, but it's just this tribe, so to speak,
hmm Right.
that's kind of just living there, doing their thing. He comes, the guy knows who he is. He
Yeah.
says, "You
Instant
you have to
recognition.
bring it back." And just the traditions of it. You can't just go there now. You have to wait until the morning, wait for the
Yep.
banana parrot to sing, and then but then he puts the pendant in the chalice because he gets there in the morning, and all of a sudden the doors just fly. The front doors fly
Yeah.
open,
Yep. And I was just like, ooh,
almost to
those,
say the
what's
curse
going
has
on?
left the building.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was just kind of an eerie, cool element that I noted. I was just like, ooh, spooky.
Yeah.
But
But then later on,
it up. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to step on your toes, but it just
oh
crossed my mind. I wonder if like, because Pete obviously, he was like kind of the chosen, but you got to wonder if Adam had been the one to go to this island and try and pull this off, if he would get the same reception. Because you've kind
yeah,
of got it at this point where it's like Pete is like clearly our hero, and his
right,
brother is, still kind of, I mean, obviously, currently in, a position where he could not travel to Turks and Caicos and get out to this little island. But if roles were reversed, you got to wonder if he would get the same kind of reception, or if he would be, because even they said the twins could handle it, the brothers
yeah,
could handle it, but I don't know. It's like I feel like if Adam had shown up instead of Pete, he wouldn't have gotten quite as warm a reception. Just
yeah. I
my gut
wonder if there's
telling me
a
that.
the yin and the yang.
Yeah,
uh,
exactly.
like it's baseballs. He's got the up Schwartz and I've got the down Schwartz, the good and the
Yes.
bad.
Yep.
Um, but but then that night they're kind of having a party, like a
Mhm.
little celebration. I don't know if
Oh
that's a
yeah, it
normal
looked
nightly
festive. They had
ritual
some
or
music going, and looked like a fun time. Looked like but Pete, I don't think was there for like the whole like
right.
celebratory aspect. I mean, he goes back to he finds the same gentleman he'd spoken with earlier, and asks like point blank, "So is it done now? Am I set?
Yeah,
Have I ended the curse?" And then the man's just like, "Nope, one more challenge, one more task," and it's like,
yes,
and this one, tying back into, Red Garrett and everything like that, great grandpa's bones, got to go back to their resting place. And
yeah.
it's just like, okay, wow. So now we're really getting into it. It's like now you got, this seems like a fun kind of tack on to, I don't know. If
So
I've been in
are
Pete's
we
shoes, I would have been like, you couldn't have told me that a little bit earlier. It's like,
are
now,
we
now I got
being
to find
led
this
to
out.
believe? Are we being led to believe that Steve Jensen literally exhumed the body of Red Garrett and brought it down to North Caicos to get this curse on Sarah because she wouldn't marry him? Like I
I
don't.
mean, I mean, that's like pretty extreme lengths to go. And we know that Steve can be an extreme sort of dude, but my goodness. Yeah,
I
that is,
kind of think the Days of Our Lives experience for Matthew Ashford kind of went to his head.
little bit, a Jack Devereaux kind of, move,
Yeah.
I suppose, I mean, it's just the way that they described it, though. Like, the pendant was stolen, and like they bring in a witch doctor, figure
Hmm.
who, put this curse on, and there was collateral that was needed, and that involved the bones of Red Garrett, and it's just he launches into this whole tale, and it's just like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
all right then,
It's a good thing Pete doesn't have to go commercial. In order to transport bones, I'm sure he's got a
right?
private jet that he
Yeah,
can
yeah. Because I
get
feel like
to the back.
TSA would be especially, just, excuse me, what are you
Yeah.
trying to, they say like lithium batteries and, things like that. Is that in your carry-on? I'd be like, well, no, but my great grandfather's bones
Right.
might have to account for that. I mean, just, yeah, yeah. It's a good thing that he has that kind of ability to kind of travel unencumbered, because otherwise
Yes.
he'd have a lot of explaining to do.
Speaking
But
of traveling unencumbered, he's not the only one down in Turks and Caicos,
no,
as
no.
Riley and Lianna decided to follow him down there. It was
Popular
actually
time
more
to be down
Riley
there.
than Lianna, but
Yeah, as she admits, which I really liked those scenes when Riley is kind of, just saying
yep,
like, telling Pete, like we're, obviously we're down here doing our work, but I also wanted to just kind of know that you were okay
right.
in the face of all of this, because she was, involved with the whole Adam thing, and obviously, like, still kind of felt, some guilt, responsibility twined in with all of that, and just wanted to look out for Pete, which I thought was really sweet.
I I did too, but I also was kind of questioning it because it kind of seemed a little flirty. You know, now that Vivian left, but I
Mm,
just I don't understand Riley's motivation for wanting to go down there. I understand that she feels kind of responsible because of the whole Adam thing, but she really has no connection to Pete outside of being Sophia's daughter. Like,
yeah. I
there's
think so. Maybe like because she was in on like the whole kind of when Sophia was trying to like figure out where Sarah was, the whole kind of
okay,
like
yeah,
she's kind of becoming like twined into this whole saga, and I guess just knows that Pete is doing his best, and also just but he's kind of like running like a one man hero sort of show, and just
yeah,
kind of feels like maybe he needs a little bit of backup, and maybe she still felt bad because he did confront her about like lying and not saying everything all at once, and maybe that just struck a chord, and she just is like, I should be down there just to kind of cover the bases in case anything, plus makes sense to shoot like for a fashion model beauty
yeah.
product line, what have you. I mean, they did
Mhm.
get some gorgeous shots of Tamara on the beach, so
Oh yeah.
worth it in that sense, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it was
So,
a beach house. It looked like an infinity pool on the edge of the
yeah, yeah,
hotel.
yeah. But even so, like,
Oh yeah.
poolside bikini, yeah. It's like, okay, you got your money's worth while you were down there for sure.
Yep. And then Liana's down there. Obviously, she was told that she's not supposed to leave the country because,
Oh, yeah.
she's waiting for sentencing or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the kind of the one thing that they tell you, like, don't leave town. And she
yeah,
did more than leave town.
yes, exactly.
And
Um,
kind of made it seem like she wants to stay out of town forever, when her conversation with Riley, which to be fair, I get, it's like
yeah,
you're down on this beautiful beach. Oh yeah, I'll just change my name and I'll just stay here. You could take over the
I wonder.
company. I'm
I
fine.
wonder if Turks and Caicos have extradition policies.
I'm not sure, but if it did, I definitely, consider, because when she rattles off again, I mean, I know we always, come back to it, but my God, that woman's been through a lot. I mean, when she kind of
Oh, I
rattles
know.
off just how, yes, the reason why I'm, here in the first place, I accidentally shot my fiance, who's also a cop, and now my, name is, it's like, I totally get just wanting to be on the beach with her rum drinks and just kind of forget
So
everything.
the um, the United States does not have an extradition treaty with Turks and Caicos, so
Oh,
she could literally stay down there with a different identity and live out her life and not worry about the Bay City PD coming to arrest her, which could be why I believe this is her last season on the show. So that might be that might be it.
Actually, spoiler alert, that's not the case. It's
Oh,
not her.
okay,
It's not her last. She still makes a few appearances. I can't remember exactly which is it next season, but the
okay,
timeline's a little bit fuzzy. But we do see Liana again.
okay. Well,
So,
all right.
but
So I stand
honestly
corrected.
though, like this would have given her a really, well
Yeah,
researched out. you know,
exactly. Yep.
the no extradition thing for sure. I mean, I did like those scenes though with her and with Riley, where Riley just kind of tells her like, we can get through this. I can, she's just such a sweetheart. She's just trying to help, you know,
Oh yeah, no,
and
you're
just
absolutely right.
trying.
I think Riley is kind of the evolution of the Riley character is just so superb that sometimes you look at her in these major scenes, especially coming to say, I want to make sure you weren't alone. And it's like, well, you're just a receptionist, kind of. You're still a little girl, but she's actually grown up to kind of be
Hmm.
this important leader in Romantica.
Definitely, definitely. She's definitely kind of come into her own through that, and after Janice's death and everything like that, she really kind of stepped up. And
Yep.
when Lianna says like, "I just want to transfer the company over to you," I mean, theoretically, Riley could handle that, but she just looks at Lianna and she's just like, "No, like you're going through a lot, but running away from all of this, it's not going to fix it.
Yeah.
Like, you really do need to kind of, but whatever you're facing, I have your back. And then it was really cute when like, she just says like, let's get a rum drink, different rum drinks, bring them
Yeah.
over. It's like, yep, yeah, you guys need to drink this out a little bit and dance on the beach before,
Oh yeah.
before everything goes crazy again.
Hmm. Yep. You're
And
exactly
then
right.
also too, there was just that little moment where because Matthew also made an appearance in Turks and Caicos and kind of winds up with I can't remember who is it, Nick, some guy,
Yes.
someone's down, yeah, just kind of winds up with he makes a friend
Oh yeah.
and they kind of mention they, oh, I feel sorry for Dan, but also just no, he's down here living his best life.
Yeah. Exactly. Um. Because then Matthew runs into Pete, and that's how Pete finds out that
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. Just kind of
Um.
convenient that they all happen to be around there, like right around the same time,
Yes. Exactly.
with that whole thing.
Um.
And but then we also find out too that Tamara being down there, didn't necessarily want to clue in her boyfriend.
Yes.
So and that leads
And
to that
you
little
know, and you
conversation.
want to know what I really liked was they actually showed the time differential, but because it was light out when
Mhm.
you know uh
Yep. It's
Evan Skypes her and he's saying let's go to lunch, and she's like it's at night down in Turks and
yeah,
Caicos because of whatever 4 or 5
time
6 hour
zone,
difference.
time change. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I appreciated that. Yeah, it adds a little, touch of again with like, they do their homework. They did their homework about Turks and Caicos before sending
they
everyone
did.
down there, which is good.
And it's like very rarely, you know, I want to say it was a couple years ago. GH did a on location scene where Drew and Carly went down to Miami and the beaches
Oh.
down there, but you could tell it was filmed like at a beach at in California, and people were railing
Yeah.
on them because it's not what it is. Come on, guys, suspend your disbelief. But the fact that you know the fact that the way the Bay did it what made it a little bit more real, more
Yeah.
believable.
It did. It definitely did. It shows they have control over their own destiny when it comes to, bringing
Yes.
in that, because, independent streaming, own kind of production company, as we said. I mean, they have the ability to do that. They're not bound by, the network being
Right.
like, oh, no, I'm sorry. We don't have the budget for that. And,
Yeah.
it's just kind of funny, just even tailgating off or piggybacking off what you said. I mean, with Days right now, you had Bo and Hope, and you have them kind of making like their return and everything like that, and you just think of the locations and things that they got to experience, and back in the
Yeah.
day when they were in their heyday. And same with like the other super couples. You look at some of these flashbacks and you see them having that ability, Soaps having that power to just kind of be like, yep, we're going to send you guys down to New Orleans, or we're going to send you to
Yep.
this place in South Carolina, or to Europe, to Greece, what have you. And they could just do it. And,
Yeah.
it would be nice if they could ever, I don't see them ever really regaining that power, but it would be cool if they could. Because I don't know, I got to tell you, some of the smaller sets and stuff that we see for Days just makes me kind of sad. It's like, come on,
Yeah.
throw them a little bit of budget, throw them a little bit of money. Because, it
I
just
think the
adds to it. It adds to like the escape that you're feeling when you're watching. It's like,
I agree. It all comes down to the fact that with streaming, the budget just isn't there. I mean, the budget hasn't been there for soaps for a long time. Let's be real. But
Oh yeah, yeah.
even with streaming, it's like, yeah, people pay X amount of dollars a month to watch it. But at the same time, you're still not capturing what the ad revenue would have back in the day. You know what I mean?
Right, right. I mean,
Um,
you're never gonna see like the crazy,
no,
you know, budgets and the, when soaps were king, they were, they had that power, and
they
I don't
also
know.
and
Now we
they were also promoted by Procter and Gamble. They
exactly.
were or sponsored, I should say. They had
Yeah.
that main sponsorship that for GH, Ned and Lois got married at Coney Island in New York, and they actually traveled there to ride the roller coaster on Coney Island and the Brooklyn Bridge, and
Yeah.
so
Well, even I don't know, I was thinking on just even like I know on days, I think it was Justin and Adrian, because you mentioned Ned, right?
yeah,
From so Wally Kirsch. I
right,
mean, they got to
yeah,
go do that whole, they got to go to Greece, and they got to have like, the wedding there, and it was just,
mhm,
it's like now forget it. Like now Days has a funeral sequence, and it's like, all these people stuffed onto this tiny little lawn with,
yes,
statues in the background versus, back in the day, you would have seen like a, actual church set, and you would have seen, just more. But it's nice to, at least with the Bay, it's able to do that. It's cool to see it. And who knows? You did mention Beyond the Gates and Procter and Gamble. Maybe if they throw a little love their way, maybe we'll see some location shoots for Beyond the Gates.
yeah. Well, I
Maybe.
mean, Anita is traveling to Chicago, so
Yeah. Hey.
we'll see.
Oh my goodness. If they actually did any like, sequences in Chicago, you bet your butt I'd be there just like camp like I want to see Anita and I want to see the articulates. I'll be an extra that day. I'll
Well,
wander
there you
down.
go. Um,
Yeah, no, but it regardless though, it was
yeah,
they bringing in that sense of realism and just kind of being like, yep, it's day in Bay City, it's nighttime in Turks and Caicos, and Evan
yeah,
is clearly concerned because he's just like, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you tell me?
right,
Oh, well, it was last minute. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And
If I
then
was,
Matthew comes over and says, "Hey, Lianna and Riley were at the bar, and whatever."
yeah,
And that's when Evan picks up. Hey, are you there with Lianna?
yep. And then just you can see all the alarm bells just going off in his head. I mean, you could see just he gets this panic look on his face, and he's just like, you do understand that she wasn't supposed to leave the country, right? Like,
Right.
just very, panicked about the whole thing. He says, like, earlier on in the conversation, I'm getting a vibe, what's going on? And then he comes to find this out. And, he even says, like, there's probably something on, like, her passport. Oh, well, we took a private jet. So it's like, but, and he's just, when I'm sorry, when Tamara is kind of all like, you're jeopardizing my job. I need to get back to work. And then he's like, you want me to jeopardize my job? It's like, yeah, that's a good argument.
Yeah, it
You're in
is.
the right to say that, and immediately as soon as he gets off the connection with her, he calls cops because, he's
Right.
the legal eagle. He has to, keep track of
Oh yeah.
everything. But yeah, I'd be a little bit like frustrated and freaked out and just also like, that she wasn't supposed to leave the country, right? Like this is a
Um.
murder investigation. This is
Right.
not, like or attempted murder. It's not great.
There's
This does not look good.
there's so much to Tamara that I feel is still being hidden. Like
Yeah.
she's not 100% forthcoming with anything. You
No.
know.
No. She's Ninja Tam. And
Yeah.
sometimes Ninja Tam mode involves her just kind of going, keeping stuff. I mean, and even with Evan, I mean, yes, they are together, but it's still kind of a newer relationship, and it's new for her because she's been in like a bad, vicious, ugly cycle of abusive relationships and things, and not being fully forthcoming. It totally makes sense given her relationship history and given everything she's been through. But
Yeah.
you can see, you want her to be able to like trust Evan completely, but he's also, he's got the law, that's really factoring in, his position and everything. So it's definitely tricky. But
Yes.
I love the chemistry between the two of them, though. I think that
I do
they,
too.
I think they make like a great kind of, even when they're kind of like feuding, kind of, in difficult situations, even over Skype, even they have
Yeah.
chemistry. So,
And I feel like Evan has a lot of patience with her. I think he
oh yeah,
recognizes that she doesn't know how to handle a lot of things on her own. Like
yes,
obviously she was raised to Garrett, but it was still like um she's had a lot of stuff that she's gone through. And then
right.
with Steve blackmailing her with the sex
Hmm.
tape and all this other stuff, just he has a lot of patience for her, and she just
Hmm.
doesn't know how to navigate everything. But she's
Yeah.
also too prideful to ask for help.
Oh yeah, yeah. And she still kind of gets a little bit on like the defensive and things like that too, but that's like totally to be expected, just
Yep.
given everything. She's afraid to fully kind of put her trust in, you know, anyone who she, or believing people are on her side.
Yes. Yep.
So yeah, she's got, a bit of a struggle happening there, but then she gets to go off and run off on the beach, and also it's like, yeah, okay, I just had kind of a ugly chat with my significant other, but at least now I can go rum drink it out on a beach in Turks and
Yes.
Caicos, you
Yep.
know, because I mean that's a highlight, I suppose.
That's the caveat. Exactly. And I think that's about it. I think we've kind of
Yeah,
covered
I think that
everything.
yeah, it definitely moved things along for us. We have
It
the
did.
next chapter. Now we got to figure out, the whole case of the great grandfather's bones,
Yes.
before they can get off this island and everything. But yeah, we didn't
Now
really,
we.
I mean, didn't get too much, Bay City side stuff, but that's to be expected. I mean, if you're gonna, be in Turks and Caicos, do a whole episode that's basically featured there. That makes
Oh yeah.
a lot of sense. So.
Yep. And the next episode we'll see Indiana Garrett. So
Yep. Yep. Looking for, our hero. It's cool. All he needs
yes.
now is the hat.
And you want to know something funny? I've never seen any of the Indiana Jones movies. Um,
I've seen it's just here and there a little kind of, but not enough to know the
the
franchise inside and
the
out.
only Indiana Jones reference I've ever seen was on the Muppet Babies when Kermit was Indiana Jones, and that's about it. So
Well, I know about the whole like, big boulder rock
yeah,
thing, and
yep,
then but all that's just typical, eh, even if you're a non-fan of, don't really subscribe to that. And
oh yeah,
Harrison Ford too,
yeah.
only for the reason, that's the reason why I would get into the franchise. Let's be real, just Harrison Ford. So, but
All
yeah,
right,
so
well,
Pete Harrison Ford will get to, be treated to that,
there
in the
we
next
go.
episode.
Yes, and that'll be next week. We'll be back again next week with another episode of Dockside at the Bay. Next week we will be back with Suds News as well on a Monday, and then Gate Crashers Monday night
Yes.
at 10 p.m. Eastern. Outside of that, Kim, where can everybody find you?
So I am Misfit8690 on Twitter, aka X, whatever you want to call it. And then I am a Little Misfit 52 on YouTube. So feel free to hit me up there if you want to chat soaps or anything else.
All right, fantastic. You can find me at Vinny Suds on Twitter or X, Vinny Suds on Facebook, and at Suds Media is the show title, the show X account. Uh, but basically, go to suds-media.com for all of the needs that you may want for Suds Media, Suds and Square Circle Media. Also, make sure to go vote for the Sudsy Awards. Suds-media.com/Sudsy voting.
Yes,
It is
cast
open
your
now.
votes.
Yes, exercise your right to vote. That is open
Yes.
until the end of June. In fact, June 30th will be the last day, so we're a third of the way through the month. Get your votes in. And then youtube.com/@suds-media. But for Kim, I'm Vinny. We'll see you next week as we get back to Dockside at the Bay. Have
Take
a
care,
great night,
everybody.
everybody.